Greetings, YouTube. The doctor is in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons & Dragons. And today on the Doctor Spell Prognosis, we're going to talk about the spell Crusader's Mantle. We are giving this spell a B-, but first, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave a question or a comment. All right, it is a 3rd level spell that is usable by paladins and war domain clerics. I'm not a big fan of the kind of fightery type clerics. To be honest, clerics should be doing cleric things, which is support and healing. They really are not great at fighting. They're very substandard fighters when it comes to melee combat. They're below fighters. They're below paladins. And they are below rangers. They're not a kind of melee type of class. And I don't see the utility in the war domain very much at all. But for the paladin, I think this is a great spell. Now, I give this spell a B-. It's a nice spell. I don't actually think it should be 3rd level, maybe 2nd level. It's kind of a stretch, but okay. So it takes 1 action to cast. It has a range of self with an area of 30 feet, a verbal component. It lasts for a minute. It is concentration. So if you cast this, you should be concentrating on it. But the problem is there's so many other spells that, especially all the smitey type of spells that paladins have, that also require concentration. So I would be casting this one after that. But there are some good ones that are 3rd level spells like Blinding Smite that require concentration that I would rather take than this one. And that's one of the main reasons why I give it a B-. So Holy Power radiates from you in an aura of 30 feet. Until the spell ends, the aura moves with you, centered on you, while in the aura, non-hostile creatures in the aura, including you, deal an extra 1d4 radiant damage when it hits with a weapon attack. And that has to be a weapon attack. So that could be a spell weapon attack. It could be a melee weapon attack. So there are differences between those. Now, 1d4 damage is not a lot of damage. And it's very situational. So let's look at all of the creatures that are vulnerable to radiant damage. So we go all the way from the Skittering Horror, from Guildmaster's Guide to Ravenica, Atropole from the Tomb of Annihilation, to... there are not a lot of monster manual ones. The Shadow Demon is one of the only actual monster manual creatures that's vulnerable to Radiant. So as you can see, there's not a lot. It's the only one. And then the Shadow is the other one. So there's not a lot of creatures that are actually vulnerable to Radiant damage, which is where this, instead of doing a D4, would do 2d4. Or double damage on a hit. So it's not great. It does come more come into effect when creatures that can use this or utilize this are getting multiple attacks around. So if you got a player character who is on your side that is doing 3 attacks around, then it's not too bad. I mean, 3d4 is not too bad. It's not a lot of damage. It's on average 2.5 points of damage per roll. So I do want to point out a couple of features that it does go well with. Sneak attack for the rogue, just because it's extra dice on top of what you're doing. The ranger, Colossal Slayer under the hunter feature, which does an extra d8. You can only do it once, but that's extra dice. Of course, Hunter's Mark for the Ranger, which is an extra dice of damage. And then this will do extra damage if you crit as well. So it can be very situational because of the number of creatures that are vulnerable to radiant damage. This also goes good with Smite as well, and especially if you crit. So I think it's something that you want to turn on after you've gone through a couple of your Smite spells if you're a Paladin, but before that I would kind of leave it alone. All right, that's what I got for everybody today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody later.